What's up, everyone? How you guys doing? My name is Rolf, and I guess it's my first video on this channel. I This is my second channel. I create videos for another game called Marvel Strike Force. But I really wanted to create content for other games I play, like Honkai Star Rail, Genshin Impact, maybe Watering Waves when it comes out. And today, I actually want to talk about a list of 5 underrated 4-star characters. I think when it comes to characters in this game, there are a lot of characters that get overshadowed by 5 stars, and other characters that also get overshadowed by the popular 4 stars like Bennett, like Xiangling, Xingqiu, Fischl. And I think I'd like to make a list of like other 4-star characters that people can use in their roster, especially if they have the constellations. This is not like a C6 thing, you know. Some of these characters can definitely work out of the gate at C0. And so I'm gonna highlight some of these characters. My criteria is that obviously characters like that we all know that's good, like Xiangling, like Bennett is excluded. I just want to take out like niche characters. So for example, where is she? Cookie Shinobu. I don't really want to add her in because Cookie, while she's very good in Hyper Bloom, she's only pretty good in Hyper Bloom. So I'll just look at 5 characters that are pretty good in other content. They may not be like the best, they may not be S tier, but you get them, especially if you're an early game player. I think these are characters that you should definitely consider taking up. I just have a list of 5, and then we have some honorable mentions afterwards that maybe due to constellations may be better. And so yeah, by the way, if you're new to this, obviously you're new to this channel, this is the first video. Do give it a like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. And let's get underway. All right, so the very first character that I would like to talk about is Kaya. I think Kaya is someone who's always overlooked because Kaya is one of the first 4 characters you unlock. He's the second, if I'm not wrong. And honestly, Kaya is pretty underrated. I think he's the best among Amber, Lisa, and himself. And what he really does is that he's pretty good in the early game because I think that his ultimate, very low cooldowns. His special is pretty good as well. Also, it's only 6 seconds, so something you can spam it quite a bit. I think that Kaya is pretty good. You know, freeze, melt. Those are very good for the early game. If you get like you should all get Barbara. Although I don't really like Barbara that much. You know, he's pretty good in melt teams. All together with Xiangling, Bennett, even like even complements your 5 stars like Ayaka as a battery. So yeah, I mean you can play as a battery. His skill is pretty low cooldown, so he's able to battery pretty fast into a character like Ayaka. And yeah, like he's pretty good. His ult also lasts quite a bit. I think his constellation extends it. I think it's C2. Yeah, C2 does get extended whenever opponent is defeated. So I think that ultimately, I think that he's somebody that is pretty good. Like I say, you run as a battery, you can run him on sacrificial, Favonius. You could also run him as a more DPS, you know, and then Amenoma is pretty good. Aquila for if you're going for the physical route, Black Sword, Black Cliff Longsword. I think even the Wolf's Fang, the Battle Pass weapon that came out in from Fontaine onwards, it's pretty good on him. And so, you know, if any of you are actually considering building up, like if there's a character you want to build up in the early game, I think Kaya is pretty good. You know, obviously, if you get other characters like 5 stars, he gets overshadowed. But I use him in Abyss. You know, on the melt team, he's pretty good. And he's a character that I really would like to maybe try one day on a 4-star run. And yeah, it definitely makes my list. For me, I'm running on Blizzard Straya. You could probably go 2-piece Blizzard, 2-piece what's that piece called? Noblesse for more damage, and a melt team. But like I said, yeah, he's pretty good, and I have nothing else to say about him. Like in the early game, I think that he's pretty good. Even for exploration, he has a talent that reduces stamina consumption. So for those of you who like to go out and walk around, he's not that bad. All right, moving on to another cryo character that I enjoy, and actually someone who I'm actually building up, is Rosaria. Rosaria, she is very similar to Kaya. Some may say he's the upgrade to Kaya. I think they work very well together in like a double cryo, double pyro team. Even on the freeze team, she's pretty good. The reason why she's good is that she gets increased crit if you hit the special from behind, which is pretty okay. But the ult also gives crit to everybody by 15% of Rosaria's crit rate, which is pretty good. That means that if you have a 75% crit, she will give the max to everybody. I think like this is pretty good for the team buff as well. I think one thing to know is also that her cooldowns are pretty okay. Her skill is pretty short. Her ultimate does take a while to come back, 15 seconds. So you have a 7-second downtime. But if you're switching out in a more quick swap play style, I think that Rosaria is actually pretty decent. Her concentration is also pretty good. Her C6 not really that needed. Her C4 definitely helps out a lot of energy for Rosaria herself, so you didn't run that much ER. And of course this increases her right termination is her ultimate. So the C2 is pretty good on her. And the C1 is pretty okay. I think it's pretty non-issue, but the C2 especially pretty good on her. And yeah, I'm currently building her up. And I swap my artifacts around, so that's why she does have a crown. But I have her on a 2-piece Noblesse, 2-piece Cryo as well, because I use her in reverse melt and with Xiangling and Bennett. So yeah, I think like these two characters, they're actually pretty good if you get them early game. Rosaria especially, very, very underrated character. I don't think people give her the credit that she deserves sometimes. And I think that if I one of my favorite content creators, Mr. Pokey, he does mostly HSR, but he's started playing Genshin recently. And as much as he doesn't want to say it, Rosaria has been carrying his team with very little investment. And I think that if any of you are lucky enough to invest to have her early, or even someone who has her like SC6, she's really, really good. Weapons, I have her on Dragon's Bane just for the EM, for the melt, because I have a lot of Dragon's Bane. I have like 11 copies, so that's that. But yeah, I think these two Cairo characters definitely underrated. Next character, Yao Yao. I think with Sumeru, Dendro has definitely been one of the outstanding elements in the game. And let's say you don't have a Nahida, and you need a healer that's not you need a Dendro applier that's also a healer. Yao Yao is pretty good. Yao Yao is the reason why Baiju isn't as popular, right? Because many people feel that Yao Yao is a side grade. So what does she do? Basically, her special, she throws out the Yugui, which is her companion, and this companion will inflict Dendro and also heal. So definitely helps out a lot. Her ultimate is also very similar, where you get all the application of Dendro. This one is more of a party-wide heal, whereas this one is more of an on-field healing. And so yeah, like Yao's pretty good. I have her on the Favonius for energy recharge, on Deepwood. I have some crit into her because she needs a little bit of crit if you want to proc Favonius. But yeah, just stack a bit of crit for if you're using Faf, HP and ER, and you're ready to go with Yao Yao. Pretty good at C0 as well. I have her at C3 because I think she came out on Al Haytham's banner, and I was pulling for Al Haytham, so I did get a few copies. But Yao Yao's pretty good. If you don't use Dendro MC, and if you make a copy of her, she's definitely very good to use with like your electro characters in like an aggravate team. All right, I know we're on a cryo spree. We talked about 2 cryo characters already. We're number 4. Charlotte. Charlotte's also very good as a healer. I think that she's definitely an upgrade over the like the OG healers like Barbara. I think Barbara, she has a very small. I think everyone knows the problem with Barbara. She makes you wet. Not that way, but you fight against cryo enemies, you get frozen, or you take additional damage from pyro damage, or even like if someone does electro damage, you get the static damage from electro due to the electro charge reaction. So in my opinion, Charlotte is a much better upgrade. Her skill is very similar to Nahida's skill. It takes a bit of getting used to, but when you hold and you charge and you mark the what do you mark this snappy silhouette, it definitely helps to apply more cryo. It definitely helps with dealing with your reactions like melt or even freeze. She also has a team-wide healing, so especially if you're using Farina on your team in a freeze team, this may be very crucial because, as many of you know, Farina has her kit is basically about draining HP. So about the fluctuation of HP with her out, while her special or her skill drains HP. So you need a healer, and while there are healers like Jean that can do the job, like Shen Yun, Kokomi, I think for a 4-star, she does a very good job at healing. As long as we have the right stats. I have her on the Oath's One Eye, which was like a 2.4, 2.5 event item. But even like for Vonus Codex is pretty good on her. You just give her energy recharge, give her attack. If you're using Fav Codex, you need crit, give her healing bonus. For me, I have her on the 2-piece attack, 2-piece healing with a healing circlet, and she heals me to full, even at these talent levels. And I think like that's very, very important. She's very comfortable to play for newer players who are still getting used to the game and need a lot more healing. Obviously, people say, why not use Bennett? My issue with Bennett is that Bennett, although he gives the attack buff, which is pretty good, for newer players, we need more healing. 70% just doesn't cut it. And with where is she? With Charlotte, definitely helps out a lot in helping the team survive. Her constellation is also pretty decent. Some of them help with increasing her own attack, like the C2, and it definitely helps a lot with survivability. I wouldn't run her as a DPS. I know people tried using her as a melt DPS. I wouldn't recommend it because as a 4-star, DPS 4-stars are always subpar. Unfortunately, sorry Feminette, sorry Razor. But like I said, like if you're Charlotte and like she's the only healer, do invest into her. Even in your freeze teams, she's actually pretty good. It's a second cryo to heal, especially if you're using Farina. So yeah, couldn't recommend her high enough as well. And I think that she's very, very underrated. I think that a lot of her appearance was overshadowed by Farina because she came on the same patch. But that being said, she's pretty good, and I'm not disappointed in using her. I've already built her to level 80. All right, and the last character that I'll talk about, I think people may say that she's not underrated, but I think that she is because people will always talk about Kazuha, always talk about Shen Yun, but I think that Sucrose is one of the best 4-stars you can ever have. She is a animal catalyst, so that means that all her basic attacks are animal, which she can swirl on a basic. Just run her on the 4-piece Viridescent Venera. Her talents don't need to be invested. All she does, she's basically a driver for your team, right? One of my favorite teams to use her is on the Taser team with Xingqiu, Beidou, and Fischl. She just drives the reactions. She is very good, very good in AoE content. Like if you are in like Abyss and the Abyss floor as AoE, using that team is pretty dope. And Sucrose is the main driver. Just need to build EM on her, a little bit of survival, not really survivability, right? I know people will argue that catalysts are a little bit difficult to use, but I think that if you manage the position right, I think that especially in like a Taser team or like even the Sucrose National should do pretty well. She also has she also gives elemental mastery to your teammates, and also yeah, definitely gives a lot of power to the rest of your team, especially using like a Xingqiu with Bennett and Shangling. Her concentration is pretty good as well. C6 is usually the one that people always talk about. The party members gain elemental bonus, pretty good if you double swirl. And yeah, like I said, someone that I think doesn't get talked as much as like Fisher or the other three, Xingqiu, Shangling, and Bennett. But I think that Sucrose does have a place. And if you have her, even if you have, like, I have Kazuha, but even though I have Kazuha, like, why not have Kazuha one side and Sucrose on the other, right? And so yeah, that is my list. Any honorable mentions? I'll talk about Koki Shinobu. I think that she's pretty outside of like Hyper Bloom teams or even Aggravate teams, but she's definitely very strong in it. And you know, I have a lot of EM on her. Just put on a pure EM build with EM weapon and with some HP for her healing. She's pretty good. Anyone else that I think that's underrated? I don't know about Diona. I think Diona got power crap by Charlotte, honestly. Beidou's pretty good. I like her playstyle. The pairing counter playstyle is amazing. I think that her downside, I think she's like, if Fisher is here, Beidou's here. Like, she's not bad. Right? She's good. The only thing is that C2 is kind of needed. Not really needed. C2 is recommended. But you know, having her, especially even aggravate teams, is amazing. Like I said, you may need Fisher with her to be consistent, but I think that even without Fisher, she's a great character. I have her on a 4-piece emblem. Her stats are pretty mid because I used to have the I used to have this on her, the Serpent Spine, but I gave it to my Navia. So I have this Ultimate Overlord's Mega Magic Sword. So, you know, it is what it is. But I think Beidou's also very underrated. Lastly, probably as the last honorable mention is Yanfei. I think even though I thought a lot about DPSs falling off, I think that she's pretty good. Pyro's still a strong element, and on like a melt team or even a vaporized team, she does do insane. People talk about the Tang Fei build. I don't really care about it. For me, I like that she does a lot of damage. Especially if you have a C6, give her a whirl, you know, give her some crit. You know, if you have any like leftover, like this is what I did. I had leftover Wondrous Troop pieces, and I was like, hey, you know what? These are some pieces that I've locked and are actually pretty good. So maybe I will use them. And I actually have a pretty decent build for Yanfei, Eve 72-157 with the Witsif. So yeah, I think you could let's say give her a try. You will actually be very impressed with her. One day I'll do a Yanfei run in Abyss. But like sometimes in Overworld, I just use her for fun and she's actually amazing. So yeah, yeah, that's about it. Rest of the 4-stars, I might need a bit of testing. I've not used Chevreuse. I heard good things about Chevreuse. Garming is a sleeper hit, but needs constellations. So but my Garming is C0. So maybe when Garming in the future gets more copies, or even now, right? I might actually try Garming out. But yeah, that is it for this video. Really appreciate you guys coming in. Like the first video, if I keep looking at my screen and not at the camera, I apologize. It is, and I've stuttered a lot. I apologize as well. I'm not used to making videos off script, right? Even my previous channel, I make videos with a script, so it's not easy for me to process my thoughts and talk constantly. So I hope I get better at it. I hope you guys support my journey. Thank you all for watching. I also stream live on Twitch. Link is down in the description. I stream Genshin, Honkai Star Rail, and Marvel Strike Force is the other game that I cover. Yeah, I might make a version of this for HSR as well. But we'll talk about that another time. But anyways, I thank you all once again for your support. Until next time, stay healthy, stay safe, be good to yourselves and the people around you. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.